What's going on, Rascal? Uh, no, this is not modern day debates. The image that I had was from the screenshot from modern day debate. But I'm going to talk about that debate a little bit. And welcome, thanks for being here, Rascal. I appreciate it. My name is Darryl Barrett Jr. I'm back with a type of video I haven't done in a while, a challenge and response video. So to Rascal, I'll be referring to a debate that I had on Modern Day Debate with Witsit, as it's what was said in that debate pertains to my point, and I'm glad I took some of the approaches I did by making sure he had to address the claims he made, because that's going to be very relevant to what we're talking about today. So basically what it'll have to do with is Rascal says, do inverted sunspots prove flat Earth or grow? I haven't really looked into inverted sunspots. Suppose if you go into the southern hemisphere, I don't know, I have to think about that. I mean, if you go to the southern hemisphere and you're looking at the sun, I guess it's possible it could be upside down to us, but I don't know, I have to think about that. Rascal. But after I finish this shouldn't take long to get through this topic. Perhaps if you like, you can join on Discord and we could discuss it. Or that's something I can make a future video on. I haven't really considered that, how the sun would look from the southern hemisphere. Will it look upside down? Because how we're standing, how we're looking, and to think about that. But this shouldn't take too long. Afterwards, we can come on Discord. Perhaps we can talk about it today, or I can make a future video about it. Now, this particular video here, I want to talk about, is going to be a challenge in response to Witsit, particularly in regards to some of the things the position he has on understanding things and what it means regarding your authority. So first, let me play this first clip so we can get some background on what I'm talking about.
Seeing who all is still hanging out. Witsit Gets It asks, Darryl, you just got exposed after claiming you understood it way more. Answer the question. What is the proportional velocity being measured in mmx? Let's do 45 seconds going forward.
Now, at the time, because of course, us, what they call globers, are honest, I haven't, it's been a while since I took modern, in which we had to solve some relativity problems, and I haven't looked at that in that particular paper. So I was just being honest. Now, since then, I've taken electrodynamics, and I know that is the constant in relativity where you convert between different reference frames. At the time, it slipped my mind. But even so, there's people who, there's a common thing in physics that experts would know about. The point in that topic is this. And by the way, if anybody doubts that, I mean, I have my homework from modern physics that I can pull up on the school websites and show that I had to calculate problems with that. I doubt any of these guys ever did. It was a few semesters before that. So, and the symbols are kind of different between different classes. It just, I was going to say, it didn't slip my mind at the time. But I didn't study it for that debate anyway. I just studied the basic math because I knew they didn't understand that. And the fact that they don't understand the basic math, we can't possibly understand the more advanced stuff that's based upon. The point of this clip, though, is that Witsit was saying I was exposed. I'm exposed because I didn't know that. I remember that detail, even though I didn't understand even though I understood the basic math, the Taylor expansions and stuff. Even notice in my debate with him, he couldn't do basic integration. And when we talk about the founded experiment, he was 100% wrong on the 24-hour sun. We'll get to a clip about that as well. And what's going on, Real? Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. And Darryl says, Left Lane also says, hey, I'm timed out for holding Witsit's feet to the fire. Yeah, I could understand that. Is Earth awakening the Discord server, or is it Eat the Cosmology? I have some clips from either one. I actually don't go to either of those anymore because once they mute me, I just don't go back. Frankly, I see it as a privilege. People like me or PhD Tony, like in this clip, talking to these people who actually know physics. Of course, I'm still learning. I'm an undergraduate student. I'm not an expert, but I clearly know physics more than these guys. So when I go there and try to talk to them and they mute me, I'm like, dude, I'm just not, I don't even go back. So I don't go back to Earth Awakening anymore. I can't say I don't even know if I've ever been to ether cosmology, so I can't really say about ether cosmology. But I know I used to go to Earth Awakening a lot until the guy muted me, and I just never went back. Yeah, they're both Discord channels. Yeah. I'm familiar with Geo. We talked a bit, and I had a few heated discussions there. Some of them are on this channel. If you look on this channel, you could also see the last one I was on there where I was muted and I didn't go back. So, I mean, there are some good guys there, but I found though that when I go to the Discord channels, after a while they start to mute me or be mad at me or treat me badly because I don't fall for their nonsense. So every single one I get to, they just start being rude to me or something. And and all of them are streamed, so I have recordings for all of them. And I may start putting some of the older ones up, but some of the newer ones are already on the channel. Now, continuing from this clip, notice that because I didn't know that little detail, even though I understood the underlying math, I'm exposed, right? Let's look at what Witsit said about the 24-hour sun.
Yeah, so I mean, I was one of the people that said I definitely didn't think that there was a 24-hour sun. We obviously haven't actually seen the sun for 24 hours, but it is doing what they said it would do very clearly, and it is still dancing around high in the sky. So obviously, we're documenting it.
So what's wrong? So he said I was exposed for not knowing that one thing. That one thing, right? If you go through that debate, experience, and I'll talk about it in a little bit detail. We talked about one of the experiments, first order, second order, the different orders of the experiment. I showed that Alan and Toby were wrong about that. Yeah, and I have where they're at, so you can see it on the screen. You can go see the whole thing yourself, right? But he's wrong. So if I can be wrong about that little thing, isn't he exposed because he's wrong 100%? Also, if you look at our debate, he couldn't make a prediction. I asked him predict when Mars is going to be in conjunction again. Now, I knew that prediction was there because I looked it up before the debate. Right before the debate, I looked up in our globe understanding of the solar system with some recent things, some upcoming things that's going to be going on. And in like another week or two, Mars is going to be in conjunction. So I asked him, predict when Mars is going to be in conjunction. First, he tried to run from the question. And then it seemed like he just quickly Googled something that had geocentrism in it, right? And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to show you now." After he, I guess, was looking for a little while, then he shows me this site that contradicts what he already said. And this is in this debate here. I'm going to show a clip from here next. In this debate I did with him, he showed a website. First of all, it wasn't a geocentric model. It was from the perspective of Earth, which is not the same thing. And then he didn't show when the conjunction of Mars is going to be. So that's a common thing that flat earthers do, which I find to be quite dishonest and manipulative. Is you ask them a question or you challenge them on something they're saying. You challenge them to back up their claims, and they try to answer something totally different and pretend they answered your question. So for one, he didn't even address the question. That was something else. And for two, it contradicted his own claim about a local sun. Right? If you look at this Earth, this center of the universe debate, you will see when he brings up this page, and in the page, if you read it, it says the sun is 93 million miles away. I also play a clip earlier when he said the sun is local. Or he's talking about the local sun. Like, I don't know if I had the specific clip about local, but there's another video I have on my channel where you can actually see all the different videos, and in the clip on the Rumble channel, he's talking about the sun, the lights being local. So he's contradicting himself left and right. Wrong. So if he's wrong about all of these things, right, and I could be wrong about that one little thing that wasn't even the point of my discussion, which is why I didn't know the details of it because I didn't look into it at the time, right? And I could be wrong about that, and I'm exposed. What did that say about him? Isn't he exposed? Couldn't he shut up about the stuff he's saying, and we're going to get to my channels later. Let's look at one more thing here. So this is a clip that Bob the science guy found. And let's hear what Witsit is doing now, dealing with the fact that he knows firsthand that there's a 24-hour sun. He's wrong about that. And of course, we know it matches the globe. He hasn't gotten to the point of admitting that yet. Let's see what he says here.
I'm trying to decide exactly how to go about it, and I would appreciate feedback from everyone because I can explain it, but the only way I can explain it is to step into the little Earth's a model game. And I intend on my first response to be.
And so now what we have is, first, he's presenting himself apparently as an expert, because if I can just point out some things that they're doing wrong, and I'm presenting myself, I'm exposed for thinking I know more. Obviously, he thinks he knows more, right? Because he's presenting himself saying all the science is wrong and all of this stuff. And now here he is he's having to go find some help from other people to explain this observation that falsifies the flat Earth. And he's apparently not the expert that he's supposed to be. He's exposed because he's needing to go get help from all the other people that he's supposed to be teaching, right? So now we're getting, and by the way, before I get to my actual channels, let's look a little bit at the era. Because if you go to my first clip, when he was saying that these scientists, no, maybe not my first clip. Which clip was it? This clip here, right? Let me play this one again. You haven't presented anything. So it's typical of you, and because I'm not going to let you run since you've presented.
Darryl, would I agree too? Again, because if you think I just have to sit here and listen to object casting, some big gotcha, watch pertinent to the
and you haven't presented anything. I could compare from what you listen to this one more time.
Because you just start to see, you're going to be able to know where it's going to be in a few days, more and more so the closer it is to that moment, right? Like you're seeing it moving in its path, and so it's getting closer and closer to where it's going to be, which just kind of shows that their whole facade of how well they understand the sky is a lie.
Right. So their facade of how they understand the sky is a lie. And look at all the stuff he's been wrong about that I pointed out just in this debate. Just in this talk. Now, what I want to do is at what the difference is he was talking about. The path of the solar eclipse was off by about a mile. Right? The people who was on the edge of the shadow, that thought they were going to see the full, totality, we wasn't going to see it anymore. They had to go a little bit closer. So let's look at all the things that they had right. So let me bring up my pad here. Let me make sure my Discord is showing properly. All right. So let's look at some of the things they had right. Right. They had the time of the eclipse. The time of the eclipse was right. They had the date of the eclipse. The date was right. The path was correct. In other words, maybe the thickness of the path, it went from, the old prediction may have been this, right? And the actual prediction was a little bit smaller. But the actual path that it traversed, where it was on the globe, that was right. Everybody along the whole path was able to, and the path is not some straight line. Because of the curvature of the Earth, and the Earth is spinning and the moon is moving, the path is a little bit. The path was right, right? The duration was right. How long the thing lasts was right, right? So if you were in the path of totality, once the sun covered you, they was able to get that, right? And of course, actually, it might have been off by because it was a little bit thinner. That means that the shadow, like this is the path, but the actual shadow, it would have been a bit smaller as well because the thing was thinner. So yeah, so the path, so let's say it would look like that. It was a little bit thinner. So if you're here and the eclipse is passing your location, yes, actually it'll be slightly shorter than it would have been because the path is the shadow is a bit smaller than it was. So yeah, it would have been a bit. The duration would have been off by a little bit. I haven't done the calculation on the duration yet. We understand it would be a small amount. We're talking it lasted 4 minutes. Now it's going to last 3 minutes and 56 seconds or something like that. It would have been something small. So the time was right. The date was right. The duration was right. The path was right. It was just the actual position of the path was right. The thickness of it was just a bit off. There's probably a whole bunch of other things that was correct. Now, the path, like I had pulled up a moment ago, the actual was about 114 miles, and the predicted beforehand was 115 miles. So the difference between these, 115 minus 114, is 1, right? So let's take a look and see what the difference is, like the percentage-wise. We have 1 divided by 115. Let's see what this is. 1 divided by 115 is equals 0.00 and 8 point some numbers, let's say 9, right? So that's what? 0.9%. So the prediction, the width of it, the width was less than 1% off. And because they were less than 1% off, Witsit said, and I played the clip, he stood behind that. Witsit said that it's a facade that they understand the sky. Because even though they're right about the time, they're right about the date, they're right about the duration, they're right about the path, which is the location. Months, years into the future, decades into the future, centuries into the future, because we could predict things, you can look it up, we have predictions centuries into the future. Even if we're right about all this, because they were off by the width of the shadow by less than 1%, what they know about the sky is a facade, which it was 100% wrong about the 24-hour Sunday night Antarctica. He was absolutely opposite of the answer. Just like how he couldn't predict the conjunction, he tried to run from it. He had to pull up a site to try to divert from it. The site contradicted his claim of a local sun. Again and again, we could point out he's wrong about stuff. So doesn't that mean he's a facade, even more so than me? If I could be wrong about that little thing, if they could be wrong by less than 1% in their facade, doesn't it mean he's a facade 100%, even more than them? If they're 100% facade when they're less than 1% accurate, when they're less than 1% off, when they write about all that other stuff, he's 100% wrong on that. Shouldn't he shut up? So that's my challenge to Witsit. My challenge to you is have some integrity. If I can be wrong on that one little detail and I'm exposed, the scientists can be wrong about the width of the shadow by less than 1% when they write about everything else and they're not a facade. You're, according to your own estimation, you're a facade many times over. So either shut your channel down or now make your channel about, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me get somebody here who does. Let me get Darryl on, because obviously I know more about it than you. If you go by my debate, I was able to talk about a whole bunch of stuff about that paper, but he had to focus on that one little thing. You were 100% wrong on the solar eclipse. I mean, me on the 24-hour sun. So obviously I'm less exposed than you. Have me on, or have Tony on. Have somebody who knows, who's not a charlatan and exposed like you, according to your own estimation. Since you are wrong, you are a charlatan, right? You don't know what you're talking about. You've been exposed as a facade, as you say, the scientists are, according to your own estimation. So have some integrity. Stop being a charlatan and a facade, right? And either shut your channel down and stop pretending like you know more than other people, right? Because you've been exposed according to your own estimation, or make your channel about getting people on that doesn't know, since obviously you don't know, according to your own explanation. What's going on, Real? It's my challenge to him. And let me see if anybody else has any questions or comments. But does that make sense, y'all? Everybody who's watching, welcome, Book Real Rascal. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I'm just about at 300, trying to hit that 300. And eventually I'll get 1,000 and so on and so forth. But what do y'all think, right? I played the clips. I played what he said about it. What his own explanation. What he knows about the world is a facade. He's been exposed. He should shut up and stop pretending like he knows more than other people, going off his own words. So that's my challenge. Right? Will he take it? I doubt it. But you all know that we can bring this up whenever he continues to act like he knows more. According to him, he's been exposed big time, right? And I won't forget that Rascal asks about the inverted sunspots. You want to hop on? I'm on Discord right now. We can talk about it. Otherwise, I'll probably maybe something I'll make a note of and look into for a future video. So, like I said, I don't even know if it looks upside down from like Australia or something. I'm sure if I thought about it enough, I could work it out, or I could just find somebody in Australia and ask them. And the interesting thing about sunspots, by the way, because that picture in the background right there, that's a picture that I took. And I compared my pictures with pictures from the Toho satellite. Let me see if I actually still have one of those queued up. Because I think I moved my folder, and when I moved the folder, everything started getting mixed up, and it wasn't like properly. I had to just remove some of them. I think that's what I did. But let me find. I'll just find the website for the Soho images, and I'll pull up one. All right. So this is an image from the Toho satellite, a recent. Well, it's an old one. I just clicked on the first one I saw. Share this again. I said that's an image from the Soho satellite. So I compared, now this is from a different date from mine, so the sunspots, this is like a period of low solar activity. So actually the sun, maybe I can make a video about that, it goes through periods of solar activity. So and let me actually remove the crops so y'all could see it a bit better. I can close these other windows since we're not talking about those anymore. All right, there we go. So the sun actually goes through phases, and scientists actually keep a count of the different sunspots. That's what those numbers are on the right, 851848. So they count the sunspots throughout the year, and I believe they restart the count every year. But this is from, at the top, you can see it's from January 28, 2006. This was actually a period of low solar activity, because the way it works is when the sun has a strong period of solar activity, that means it has a lot of magnetic activity going on. And the reason why these sunspots show up in pairs, like if you look at the right there, there's two spots, 851 and 848. Arcs of magnetic activity comes out the sun and goes back into the sun. And at each of those locations, the surface is cooler, and that cooler area looks to us like a dark spot, and we call those sunspots. So this is a period of low activity, but my picture was thankfully during a lot of activity, so I was able to get a lot of spots. But I say that to say that when I compared my picture to the satellite, I noticed that my picture was burnt, right? So the picture, as you see it here, not in the exact orientation as when I took it. What I did was I rotated my picture to match the orientation of the satellite, because the satellite is at a position in between the Earth and the sun, and it's oriented so that it has a proper north-south orientation. But my camera, I didn't even think about that when I was taking the picture. I mean, my camera was just straight in my perspective. And sometimes even when I moved the camera around and turned a bit, but suffice it to say that my orientation of my camera didn't actually match the north to south rotation of the orientation of the planet. So I had to actually rotate my my picture. So now if you look at this picture, it is facing the rotation of the sun. Like the sun in this picture is actually rotating, so the spots are going from left to right. But I think in my picture, like in the actual picture when I took it, it was like tilted to the side, right? So I guess depending on how you look at the what down is and up is to you, the angle that you look at it, because even looking at it from my rotation is different from the satellite. So I'm pretty sure the orientation will be different, but I'll have to think about how. But awesome, guys. That's all I wanted to do was present a nice little challenge to Witsit to either shut his channel down or stop pretending like he knows stuff. Because according to his own explanation, he's been exposed. There's a facade that he knows who he's talking about. And he's probably to let somebody else talk on that platform. And we'll see what happens about that. By the way, I have a debate coming up that's in the works on the 11th. It should be with Flatzoid debating thermodynamics on MDD. So be sure to check MDD for that. And I may have a debate on the 1st or the 4th, meaning this week, if one comes up. MDD had asked me and Flatzoid about moving it to this week, but we still wanted to have it at a later date. But I let them know that I'm available on the 1st or the 4th if they need a globe debater, so I'll see how that goes. Awesome Reel, awesome Rascal, awesome book. Thank y'all for joining. I hope y'all enjoyed. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back on Saturday for my normal time. I'm thinking about a day to add a second stream, and maybe on Monday. I'll see what day is most convenient when the semester starts again. But maybe I'll start making one every Monday again because I'm free on Mondays. But expect to see me back again on Saturday. And I'll see y'all next time.